Welcome to Triumph IAS. It's a daily mains practice question and answer series. This program is exclusively designed for UPSC CSE aspirants. In this video discussion, we will discuss UPSC CSE mains previous 25-year questions. Question number 1. American Revolution was an economic revolt against mercantilism. Substantiate? Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Mercantilism is an economic theory that holds the prosperity of a nation depends upon its supply of capital and that the global volume of trade is unchangeable. The main body of the answer should be: American Revolution was inspired by various socio-economic and political factors besides the increased awareness of the masses about their natural rights. However, the main factor behind the American Revolution was the economic policies of England in its colonies in America, which clearly supported mercantilism. This is evident from the following actions of Britain. Number 1. The Navigation Law of 1651 required American ships to compulsorily sail towards Britain ports. Number 2. Although the Britain won the war with France, but at a huge economic cost. To overcome the huge debt, it imposed coercive laws on American colonies like new taxes on stamp, sugar, etc., which led to emergence of revolutions. Number 3. Heavy duties were imposed on the import of goods from other countries to the colonies. Number 4. The settlers were prevented from moving west as the English aristocrats wanted the farmers to remain renters. Number 5. Absence of heavy industries in America because of industrial regulations imposed by Britain. Number 6. There was restriction on trade with other European countries and American colonies could trade only with Britain. Number 7. Increased duty on trade of tea provided direct favoritism to mercantilism. This enriched American settlers and led to the famous Boston Tea Party. Number 8. While the Americans wanted no taxation without representation, the Rockingham Declaratory Act gave British Parliament all the rights to impose taxes on American colonies. The conclusion of the answer is: therefore, mercantilism was the prevailing policy in Europe at that time, and the American Revolution can be said to be an economic revolt against this mercantilism. Question number 2. What are the methods used by the farmers' organizations to influence the policy makers in India, and how effective are these methods? Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Farmers' organizations are seen as a useful organizational mechanism for mobilizing farmers' collective self-help action aimed at improving their own economic and social situation and that of their communities. Moving on to the main body of the answer. Number 1. Many governmental and non-governmental organizations have been trying to organize farmers into groups and integrate them into the development process by actively involving them in transfer of technology, production and marketing, planning, implementing and monitoring of different projects on rural development, agriculture and allied sector development, natural resource management, etc. Number 2. Farmers' organizations influence the decisions of the government in the agricultural field. Number 3. In most circumstances, farmers' organizations are beneficial to those involved, although choosing the most appropriate type of organization and its internal management need careful thought in relation to achieving objectives. Number 4. Farmers' organization is critical and central for sustainable agriculture. This works at every level, from farmers experimenting together to locally improved techniques to jointly representing their interests at an international level. Number 5. Given the difficulties faced by farmers, every effort is needed in order to achieve the improvements needed in their various circumstances. The conclusion of the answer is: farmers' interest groups, networks of federations can all make a huge contribution to raising awareness and campaigning for change. In majority of cases, strong local organizations are, and will continue to be, key to building sustainable development of agriculture. Question number 3. India has achieved remarkable successes in unmanned space missions including the Chandrayaan and Mars Orbiter mission, but has not ventured into manned space mission, both in terms of technology and logistics? Explain critically. Let's start with the introduction of the answer. Although India's space program was launched in the early 1960s, it largely remained a small player in the global space industry. ISRO successfully launched the Chandrayaan mission in 2008 and guided a spacecraft into orbit around Mars in 2014. The main body of the answer is Number 1. India has still not ventured into manned space mission, both in terms of technology and logistics. Number 2. The main reason behind it is that the technological expertise and the resources available at the disposal of ISRO had been limited. Number 3. India plans to send its first manned space mission dubbed Gaganyaan in 2022. Government has allocated 100 billion rupees for the mission. Number 4. If successful, India would be the fourth country in the world to conduct a manned space mission after the US, Russia and China. Number 5. According to ISRO, there will be 2 unmanned missions before the actual human space mission in 2022. Gaganyaan mission has certain fundamental challenges. For a manned mission, ISRO has to develop the ability to bring the spacecraft back to Earth after flight, and also a spacecraft in which astronauts can live in Earth-like conditions in space. The conclusion of the answer is elements like systems to maintain the environment, provide food and process waste, and deal with emergencies are still on the initial stage of development. Also, India does not have an astronaut training center,